Can I fly here? Or here? Or here? Or here? Or here? There are loads of places that you can fly your drone and loads more places that you can't. But a few people get in touch this week asking how you can actually work out whether or not you've got the right to fly. So today I thought I'd go through the main rules that affect you and how to find out where you can fly legally. Hello. So I had a few people this week get in touch asking how to find out whether it's legal or safe to fly from a particular location. Well, drone rules in most countries are regulated by that country's aviation authority. You have the FAA, Federal Aviation Authority in the USA, UK and Australia's got the Civil Aviation Authority and so on. There are a few rules that you need to stick by, and irrespective of where you are, they kind of fall into two groups: what's going on around you and what's going on above. So first off, let's talk about the rules governing your surroundings. My advice is always to be far away from buildings, trees and people. The actual rules are quite straightforward, and in the UK they're all outlined by the Civil Aviation's Air Navigation Order, but most other countries have very similar rules to these four main basic ones. Number one, stay at least 150 metres or 500 feet horizontally away from any built-up area or open area that's got over 1,000 people there. This means you cannot fly over these areas at all, and in practice it means that most towns and cities are out of bounds for flying unless you're in a large park. Rule number two, stay a 50 metre or 150 foot bubble away from any person or structure not under your control. This means you can fly over them, but you cannot fly closer than 50 metres to them. Should point out in the UK, for UK flyers, this rule is reduced to 30 metres or about 100 feet for takeoff and landing. Rule number three, stay under 400 feet in altitude from the point you take off from. That's a pretty common rule throughout most of the world. Rule number four, stay in visual line of sight, which means that you can always see the drone with your own eyes at any time. Another key consideration is landowners. They do actually have the right to stop you controlling your drone, but not from flying over their land. So parks and private land are quite within the rights to stop you taking off, controlling or landing on their land, but they cannot stop you flying over any more than they could stop a hot air balloon or a paraglider flying over. Landowners may think they've got this right, but in the UK at least, it's the CAA that control the airspace, not the landowner, and that's quite a key principle to keep in mind. And I happen to know this for a fact, as I did contact the CAA just this week, and they did confirm back to me that as long as you're complying with the rules that I've just laid out in the Air Navigation Order, and that you're not in breach of any air restrictions, then you're okay to operate. And that brings me on to the second set of rules: what's going on in the sky. In all countries, airspace is controlled by that country's air traffic control body, and it's generally classified with letters starting from A to G, with A being the most tightly restricted and G being the least tightly restricted airspace. They all have various restrictions, but crucially not all of them prohibit you from flying, which is great for us as long as we know which rules apply to us. And that's where the smartphone comes in. Because the good news is most air traffic control bodies have actually put out smartphone apps specifically for drone flyers. These are fantastically helpful and give you real-time information on any airspace controls and any temporary controls in place. In the USA, the FAA has put out an app called Before You Fly. In the UK, National Air Traffic Control, or NATS, have put out an app called Drone Assist. And in Australia, they have an app called Can I Fly There? All of these are produced by the relevant air traffic control bodies. There's also another app called AirMap, which covers these countries and around 20 other countries throughout the world. So have a look here at the NATS Drone Assist app, for example. It shows you what controlled airspace is above you and crucially gives you tailored specific advice on whether you can actually fly your drone where you're located. These apps are insanely useful and incredibly easy to use. Everyone flying a drone should be making use of one of these apps every time they plan a flight. Not only does it tell you whether it's safe to fly where you are, it gives you the knowledge so that if anybody challenges you, you've got the facts right in front of you. So that's about it for today. If you've got any other considerations, then put a comment below, and remember to keep the comments constructive and helpful. If you're referring to any specific regulations, then include the link as well so that we can click it and check it out ourselves. Do remember, different countries have different rules, and what I have outlined today is my understanding of the civil aviation rules that apply to UK flyers. It's up to you at the end of the day to check your rules, because ultimately there's only one person that's responsible for the flight, and that's you. Anyway, hopefully that is helpful for both new flyers and experienced flyers alike. As ever, if you like what I've done today, give me a little thumbs up. If you disagree with something, give me a little thumbs down, or you can put a comment down below. Like I said, keep it constructive and helpful, but either way, until next time, have fun, happy flying.